BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, NHL to entertainment and political props. Head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome to Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals, part of the Bleav Network, joined by former tight end and Super Bowl 33 participant Ed Smith. My name is Javon Adams. Be sure to subscribe, comment, rate, and follow this podcast and tell all of your Arizona Cardinal fans and friends to do the same. You can also watch us on Bleav TV around the country, in airports, and on YouTube. Read the top Bleav stories at si.com and follow us across all our Bleav socials. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. What is good, my brother Ed Smith?
Man, I wish I'd been brave enough to go to BetOnline and put a couple nickels on them Cardinals, man. Here we go.
Yeah.
5-4, first in the division. We talked last week, 1 point spread on that game. Wasn't brave enough to touch it. But Cardinals, man, I mean, you follow them, you can win a little money here and there.
Here and there. So we do this thing twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. We'll see how this Thursday goes. I'll be traveling. We'll see how that goes. But on Monday, we look back on the game that just took place. And on Thursdays, we look ahead to the next game. And so, of course, we are talking about the recap of the Bears against the Cardinals. Bears came to State Farm Stadium and had a little bit of rain and ended up having to have the roof closed because it was rain and some hail going on here in the Valley of the Sun, I guess the Valley of the Clouds yesterday. And the Arizona Cardinals were victorious. A weird score, 29-9. And as we discuss this and get into your thoughts and your observations from the game, I came across, and I put it in our show notes, that Dan Bickley, one of the local columnists and a radio host here as well in the Valley, he put up an article that I think is something that may be points of discussion for us today. So in essence, so you can go to Arizona Sports to find the article that he had about the kind of recapping or his thoughts on the game and what that meant yesterday. But one of the quotes as he starts this article: 3-game winning streaks are rare in the NFL. They are impact statements. They are declarations of malicious intent. They are reason to believe in your football team. So as we unpack this game, would you agree or disagree with that? And then let's get into how that may or may not apply to these Arizona Cardinals.
That's a bold statement, but I'll say this, Jay. 3-game win streaks are like when you're a winning organization, this is the routine. 3-game win streaks. This is, you're starting, you want to be 5 out of 6 and, 5 winning streaks. So that's for winning organizations. When you've had such an up and down as we have following these Cardinals, what the word that I've used and we've adopted for the Cardinals is inconsistency, right? And it doesn't just apply to this year. It applies to the regime before this one and currently this regime right now. GM, head coach, the whole game plan, everything. So it's one of those things where you have to take baby steps before you can get to 4 and 5. You have to have 3. So you got to remember too, Jay, the 2-game winning streak we had, meaning last week, is the first time we've done it since 2021, right?
Yeah.
So our minds are so trained to inconsistency and underachieving and mayhem out here that we have a little success, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa! I mean, we're 5-4. We can't beat our chest too soon. We got to give this team credit, but like as far as like this is major accomplishment, 3-game winning streak. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs. They're currently 6-0 and haven't lost since they won a Super Bowl last year. So you got to count the playoff games, and then leading up to the playoff games, they probably haven't lost a game in 9-10 weeks if you count everything. And to them, it's like, hey, just business as usual. So as in, not taking anything away from that point.
To that point.
Go ahead.
So to that point. So what if? So think about it. Maybe I can try to relate this. It'll be a terrible analogy, but you played not only football, but you also play baseball. I run, and I'm trying to get
Mhm.
back to whatever good running running shape I was in a few years ago. But could it be something like when you're playing baseball and the game is so fast for you, and then that one day when it begins to slow down a bit for you, doesn't mean you're going to be a Hall of Fame hitter. Doesn't mean that you're going to make All-Star teams, but it means that the game slowed down just a bit. Or I equate it to maybe if I've been running and I'm trying to build up my stamina to run for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm able to do it and I can run for 3 minutes without stopping, then three and a half, and then four. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be a world-class athlete in terms of breaking personal records, running a half marathon, etc. But it may mean that things are starting to click a little bit. So that is, at least I'm going in the right direction.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. It's just that we have to let the cake bake a little bit before we, it's like start making declarations. I'm all like, I mean,
Mhm.
this is great. What I would like to do is get at the end of the season, see how it all chops up and where we were good, where we were bad. Then we make statements on what we've done. Like when you're in the middle of it, because Jay, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
In three, if we lose three in a row, what's going to be, because we've done it before, right? If all of a
Yeah.
sudden
Yeah.
our schedule is a little rough on us, we turn around and lose three in a row, how bad are we going to be? I mean, you and I, we just try to speak truth, but how bad are the fans and everybody? I routinely every week have people that listen to our podcast or follow us wherever, and it's like a daily. What have they done for me lately? Middle of the game, if it's going bad, oh my God, this is sucks, and then we win a game. It's like, oh my God, they looked incredible. It's like you gotta, it's like a heartbeat. You just gotta let it go sometime, right? And so what I'm saying about the 3-game win streak is it's good. You have to look at the opponents you beat. You have to look at the circumstances. You take everything. For me, I take everything into account. We've been gifted a couple of these games. We've been gifted a couple circumstances and stuff like that. Not taking anything away from the Cardinals, because as easily as you won those games, you could have lost them, but you won those games. Yesterday, in my opinion, was the most impressive game
Okay.
of the year for the Cardinals, because we played from first snap to last snap like we look like we can play sometime. We didn't have that first half where we stunk it up and then just
Yeah.
we everything clicked in the second half. We didn't we kept away from the major mistakes. We actually made the Bears look like we do most of the time, right? So for
Mm.
me, that was the most impressive of the victories, and I wasn't sure what we were going to get, because it almost worked out to be, it was like circumstances where it was almost like a repeat of the Washington Commanders coming in here. Young
Mm.
quarterback. We don't know what they are all about, but hey, this is a game we should win. And boom, Washington came here and laid it on us. Had the potential to be the same thing, but we stopped that. We took control of this game from the very beginning. We won this game. For me, it's the best victory and best, I guess, game played of the season so far. Now we got to take everything into account. So okay, can we extend this? Can we do it again? Can we
Hmm.
keep away from next week? We look like a team that didn't practice all week, or so. It's all about the consistency for me. And 5-4 is good, but you think about it, and this is why I always talk about. You look back on those games that you just gave away or didn't, but bro, 5-4 is nice, but how much nicer would 6-3 or 5-4? I gotta do my math. 6-3,
7-2.
7-2.
Hmm.
And which, if you think about a couple of games that we just dribbled down our leg, you start looking back, and that's why I say when you get to the end of the road, the end of the season, that's when you can look back and say, good, bad, indifferent. Start doing your check marks. Do something for me, after a 3-game win streak, and it's like, this is what teams are made of, and this is what the standard. And nah, bro, we got a long way to go. Minus a 3-game win streak. So as nice as it is just that. And I like what I saw yesterday. We'll see if we can do it next week and weeks beyond. And I'm not even saying just wins, because there are where you can lose by play well also. So let's
Right.
see how we play in some of these wins and losses. Then I'll start, because right now, if you said, Ed, are you on or off the boat? I'm just sitting on the side. I'm waiting at the dock right now. I haven't made my decision to get on or get off. I need more information. A lot of people I like to jump on and jump off as fast as they get on it. It's a
Yeah.
long season. We're halfway through it now, officially past the halfway point. Let's see where we go. But I was impressed by the fact that this is the first game that I thought we went out and straight up just won it from start to finish.
Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. He's Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We are presented by Bet Online. So if you look at the numbers, Kyler Murray, 154 passing yards, no interceptions, no touchdowns either. And so you might look and say, well, he had maybe a terrible game or a struggling game, but really the numbers don't tell the truth in that. And one of the things that I heard during the broadcast, and I thought, and I wanted to mention this to you, was that his line was the line of a quarterback that wanted to win the game. So it was a different way of approaching it, because if you look at what the rushing yards were, what was it, 260 yards rushing for the Arizona Cardinals? And I say that again, 260 yards on the ground. And to be able to continue that, there was a good dose of Connor. Benson was coming through. DeMarcado with a 53-yard run. Those are the things that can help you to be able to take the burden off of your quarterback and the receiving core, because you're able to have that balance in place. What did you think of just the way in which the impressive nature with the Cardinals running the ball?
It was a winning game plan because they came in, they saw what was working, and they stayed with it. We don't have to throw the ball. If you don't have to throw the ball, why throw the ball? And I mean, every game plan, you've got certain things that you have to do. In this instance, we were running the ball so effectively. What I would have liked, and during the game, the commentators talked about how Murray is not involving himself in the running game plan. You don't want him out there maliciously running, but I still would like to see a little more scramble out of him and maybe a couple designed runs, because they're out there. Maybe they were saving them for another opportunity when they really need them. But his lack of involvement in the running game, so be it. We used our running backs this game. That was working, Jay. The total of 20 pass attempts. Once again, it's a strange game because both teams kind of light on the number of plays. We had 34 run plays, 54 plays in the game, and they were right around 64. So we're still light in, and maybe that's just the way it worked out. But I mean, if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. And I'm watching that game from the very beginning. I'm like, man, they need to just lean on Connor today and whoever else is toting the rock, because and they did. And that was for me, that's encouraging. A lot of people look at it like, well, Murray had a bad game. No, he didn't. I've seen Tom Brady do this before. The greatest of all time until further notice. I've seen him do this before when the game plan kind of dictated it. Yeah, perfect word. That's what I was looking for. But yeah, so if Tom Brady and others can do it, so can we. And it was very refreshing to see them lean on the running game, realize that it was working, and stay with it. That was the thing about it. A lot of times, well, we got to throw the ball at least a little bit, and all of a sudden now you start doing that, and then you get away from the run. Now, this was one of those games where I liked the way they went at the Bears, and remarkably, because the Bears defense is what they've been leaning on for the most part. And in fact, we were able to run the ball as consistently. And then, you've heard me talk. Connor, man, you get that dude going downhill. He's so hard to stop. You give credit to the offensive line because they were getting pushed. So everything, and it was a great game plan because they stayed with the game plan. You can win many different ways. What's that old saying about many different ways to skin a cat? Well, I don't know who's out there skinning cats, but what the hell? But so the way we won this game, and here's the thing: next week, because you have to throw this one out, but this gives our next opponent a lot to think about in terms, and then maybe you hit them instead of hitting them with the left jab, you start hitting them with the right. Maybe there's a little more passing involved in this coming attack. So you mix things up. But the fact that we were able to do this, stay with it, effectively win this game without even throwing the ball, that's encouraging to me.
And I stand corrected. It was 213 in terms of rushing yards, but still impressive nonetheless. And the another thing that was impressive was the in terms of one thing is the offense was able to get. I Bleav the number was the Chicago Bears defense hadn't given up more than 21 points in the game, and so obviously the Cardinals ended up with 29 points. So there's something there with a team that relies so heavily on their defense at this point in the season and the point of this stage of the development of Caleb Williams. And there were 6 sacks, or no, maybe let me not misspeak there, but what was it, 3 sacks? So the Cardinals got to the quarterback quite a bit in terms
we
of
had 6.
6 sacks. So
Exactly.
that was impressive as well. So the different things where the defense is coming through, again, that kind of that bend don't break mentality, just in being able to build on that. They have another game upcoming here at home against the New York Jets. So that's something to kind of keep in mind as well, that just that confidence in knowing from a defensive standpoint that, yes, we can not only, we didn't have to come back from a deficit like they did with the Dolphins. They were able to be competitive the entire game. It was 14-9 at half, and then the Cardinals ended up kind of just pulling away from it from various things. They ended up getting a safety, etc. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, as the Cardinals sit at 5-4 now, what is your level of confidence in the Bleav, if you will, with the Cardinals for the playoffs? Is it too early to talk playoffs? Is it? I mean, has this stretch here given you enough confidence to at least put them in the mix for something where the playoffs are concerned?
Until further notice, I'm not. I mean, this is a team that could get to the playoffs potentially, but I'm not banking on it. I would, if I was putting it at a scale, I'd say probably a 6 out of a 10, 5 or 6 out of a 10, which is somewhat of a flip of a coin because of the inconsistency that we've shown. Playoff teams, you have to win in bunches. We've done that for 3 games now, but we also have the potential to lose in bunches. And it just depends on which team shows up. So, am I excited that they're 5-4? That's the other thing. We're 5-4 in a division that one has been underwhelming. But we have to look. I mean, Rams playing much better, going up to Seattle. Seattle, I think, has turned out to be the pretender in this division out of all of them. You still got San Francisco out there coming off their bye week, licking their wounds. I still think they're the class of this division, especially if they get McCaffrey back. So we got a long hill to climb just within our division alone. And quite honestly, I think if we don't win because of the position of this division right now, meaning 5-4 is your leader, I don't think there's a wild card coming out of this division. I think the NFC North is going to swallow up all the other wild cards. Whoever wins the division, yay, you're top seed over there. But we're going to have some competition from that division alone as far as who's going to get that other wild card. And then I think the other surprise is Washington over there on the other side. And you got to throw the Eagles in there as well. So I think if we don't win the division, that's where we're going to come up short, because I think all the wild cards are going to get swallowed up by those other divisions. So then you say the equation is, okay, what are our odds on winning this division? I still don't think they're great. I think they're okay, but if that's your only way in because of the math that I just gave you, I would say more than likely not. But at the same time, is that a huge disappointment?
Right, because what I was going to say is, even if they don't make the playoffs, the fact that they may be in it or in the mix with all the different calculus that goes on as the season wears on, that can bode well for the psyche of the team and building the culture. Am I right on that, or am I off base?
You're right on point. I mean, everybody in that locker room, say we fast forward and we missed by a game or two, would be disappointed. But at the same time, when you're looking at the expectations and the direction the team is going, quietly, the coaching staff, as far as like ownership, I guarantee they'd get a pat on the back, because I'm telling you, Jay, this roster, if they give them time to build it, eventually it's going to be good. But you talk about the talent-wise on this roster, we are so far behind other teams because we don't have those superstars. We got a lot of money to spend, and we got a lot of free agents to go after, and we continue to still do a good job in the draft. But this roster is not a playoffs. I heard somebody talking earlier today. They were applauding the Cardinals, but they're because everybody's like, well, at the deadline, what is everybody going to do? And I can't who's it Sims on PFF, I think it was. He was talking about this isn't a team that's going to go out and spend because you don't have Super Bowl aspirations. I mean, you would love for something to happen, but we know this team getting into the playoffs would be like a step up for them. Well, as far as like winning, going to all the way to the Super Bowl, that's hey, baby steps, bro. That's let's take baby steps. So, like I said, whatever the goals are, and I know inside the locker rooms, everybody's saying yes, we can. I say no, you can't right now, but eventually you will. So let's take it step by step. So if they pull it off and get into the playoffs, win a game, or even just lose in that first round, success. Even if they don't get to the playoffs, but they play like they did yesterday, continue to give the effort, but also lighten up on the mental mistakes, the physical mistakes. We start looking better and stop having the inconsistent dips. That would be for me would be a win as well. So we're 5-4. We're stepping, accordingly. We still have to shake some of the, like I said, the bad juju or whatever it is, because it's like you hold your breath all the time because you just know one of those games, the head scratchers might be coming. Maybe we continue to win like this, though. We start shaking those doubts a little bit.
So you mentioned it. Two things. You said that your confidence is maybe 50, 60%, 6 out of 10, maybe in terms of your confidence level. But we all know that owners oftentimes aren't looking at the timeline. Do you think that Bidwill will say, we're 5-4. I think we can go for it. Let's bring somebody in. Let's go for it. Let's bring a pass rusher in. Even if Ossenfort, the general manager, is saying, wait a minute, that's skipping a couple of steps. We're playing hopscotch here. We're not trying to do that right now. We're trying to go measured, steady to be able to build this thing. And then the owner overrides them. Do you think is that a concern of yours?
No, I think they're probably having conversations, but I think the deadline is tomorrow, isn't it? Or
yes, it is.
Yeah. So if we were a week or two away from the deadline, I would be a little scared. I think because we're up against it, and 5-4, although it's a winning record and we're in the mix, it's almost like, look, slow your roll. I'd rather hold on to our the future draft picks and stuff and not go do something silly when that silly move. Okay, so instead of we end up with 8 wins, we get 9, but we don't make the playoffs, that type of thing. Right. Let's hold on to what we have at this point in time, because that might be that asset we get might be more beneficial than whoever we're going to go spend that money on right this second. My biggest thing is come this off season, because we've taken small baby steps. Come this off season, that's the time to get off the purse straps and open it up and stuff, because these guys are now would be their third or fourth off season in terms of, because they came in second season. So this is the time. We've seen the slow progress. We haven't really spent any money. That's good, because we're also not stinking right now, which is a good thing. But finally, hey, if we want to take the steps, now you can onesie, twosie, or you can go ahead and get you a good running start and get you some 4Z, 5Z. And you do that by bringing in big-time free agents. Now would be the time to do that, because, like I said, once you start getting to the years 3, 4, and 5, yes, owners are starting to get a little, like, hey, well, we're taking baby steps. I'm tired of taking baby steps. We need to take some big ones. So this offseason is where I would say, okay, it's time to spend some money. And I would be like, if I'm ownership, I'm like, look, here's the check. Hey, babe, here's the checkbook. I know we need some new furniture and some stuff. Just go make it happen. Do it, hey, you don't have to come to me and ask me, your budget is unlimited. Go do what you got to do. So that would be the way I would do it this offseason. But as far as spending money at the deadline here, nah, I'm holding on to that right now.
All right, Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. He's Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We are presented by Bet Online. So I'll ask you this as we get ready to wrap up. Cardinals 5-4, still at the top of the NFC West. What did yesterday's win again show Ed Smith? What, if anything, did yesterday's win say to Ed Smith?
Yeah, like I said, it showed me that when they play the way they played yesterday, they're a very good football team. Not a great football team. I put them in the still in the middle of the, if you run down the number of teams that the Cardinals could stand up and go toe to toe with, with between talent and coaching and stuff like that, we're in the middle. We're somewhere in that 15 to 20 range, but we're creeping up one, step at a time, and that's a good thing. How many years, Jay, have we done? We've done this 5-6 years now with Bleav,
Right.
whatever it is, right? And how many times have we been so far near the bottom of every statistic and every, the division, and it was abysmal and dismal and whatever else you want to call it, and it was just depressing. And now it's like, wait a minute, even without Murray playing his best, or like doing that joystick thing, like we're playing a video game, where we're actually a team that can go out there, run the ball down somebody's throat, not even need a whole bunch from Murray, and we got a victory. And we gotten victories other ways as well. When you start winning games different ways, that's when, for me, you're starting to do some teams just win one way all the time. I'll tell you what's impressive to me, and is how KC is doing it right now. Before, it was all about Mahomes and them going out there and putting 35, 40 on the board and all this flashing. Their defense is now taking over, and they're winning what a lot of people would call ugly. But what's that old saying? I'd rather win ugly than lose pretty any day. So for the Cardinals, start to win different ways. Yesterday, we, whether it was an adjustment we made coming into the game, we saw it work, we stayed with it, or maybe they had designs of getting off of that, but they stayed with it. So that was an adjustment in itself. We're seeing that the Cardinals can do things differently, come away with a victory. Next week it's a new opponent. We're going from a rookie quarterback to the oldest quarterback in the league, with a team that's still trying to find themselves. And do we let them come in here and take a game that, by all rights, we should win? We'll see. So it's once again, and it's a week-to-week adventure, Jay. We have to wipe the slate clean, get ready for the new movie or whatever that's coming in here, then we'll be able to critique it. And I hope we're having a good critique and not a bad critique, because we're talking about consistency. We're talking about week to week. It would be bad, in my opinion, for them to take a step back and give us, one of those stinkers, because they've done too much to get the good praise right now. Because even some of the national team audience is like, well, look at the Cardinals waking up, and it would be, they've done too much to just give that all back just that fast, because they come out there and lay an egg next week. So we'll see what they do. But for now, watch the film today. Everybody can pat everybody on the back. And we know Tuesday is day off, and then we're right back at it for this coming week to see what's ahead of us. So, like I said, congratulations to the Cardinals. I think we both picked them this week, so we didn't have to eat any crow, which is good.
Right.
You like that? I just wish I'd have put a couple nickels down with Bet Online, and I would be feeling even better right now. But I didn't, but maybe next week or this coming week, I'll be brave enough to do it.
All right. So he is Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. We do this twice a week. Make sure you tell a friend about what we have going on here. And as always, we are presented by Bet Online. And as we like to say around this time, you can. If you want to hold on there we go. And peace. Hold on. This thing don't like me today.